Hello darlings and welcome back to episode 6 of Afternoon Tea with BonBon magazine. I'm your host Ebony Louise Barrett and this is episode 6. Oh my gosh, wow, almost getting close to episode 10 each month. Grab yourself a cuppa and a blanket. It's time to get cute and cozy together. So today we're going to be kind of talking about the bow trend, the girl trend. You know, if you know, you know. But before we go into all that, Happy New Year and all that. I hope you all had a magical holiday season. And if you didn't, like, guess what? That's absolutely fine too. The holidays can be a pressure cooker, you know, for a lot of families and for a lot of individuals spending it with, like, either, you know, people they don't really speak to or, you know, so let's all be grateful to move on into this prosperous, fruitful new era. Okay? We're in 2024! What the fuck? I'm very confused. I don't know how to feel, babes. I really don't know how to feel. Let's talk about the bow trend. The girl trend, you know, we're all seeing it. We're all seeing the girlies wearing bows. Not our girlies, as in the gals outside, you know, wearing bows with their cargos and, you know, pairing unlikely outfits, but just with a cute little accessory. And yeah, I just want to talk about the infiltration of bows and kawaii iconography into the mainstream, because we've particularly seen it, especially towards the second half of 2023 into now. We're really seeing it. You know, I personally work in retail as well, 2 days a week at the moment, and we're getting a lot of bow clips. I'm seeing a lot of ribbons. I'm seeing a lot of lace. I'm seeing a lot of pointel, like that kind of spotty, dotty pattern that's kind of like holy, but it's very cute. Yeah, lots of frills, lots of ruffles, seeing like lots of that kind of texture, that kind of like expression, and it's great. But I have some thoughts. Cuteness is being embraced. How do we feel about it? How do I feel about the normies wearing bows and reclaiming their girlhood? I mean, I think it definitely makes sense right now. We're going to get into that though, but before I do, I wanted to outline like the problems of the trend side of it and the trend cycle, and the, you know, the longevity of it is quite, you know, it's quite pressing. So yeah, the problems of being someone who loves alternative Japanese fashion and, you know, having our world opened up to the mainstream, because give us our flowers, because we've been doing this. We've been wearing bows in our hair. We've been wearing cute little girly Creole hoops, you know, to honour our childhood, to honour how our mums would dress us. You know, I feel that every girl at some point in their life has had an interaction with a bow, whether that be, you know, growing up and having your mum do your hair, you know, going to us black girlies, going to auntie, getting our hair done, getting the cute beads and the cute ribbons and bows, and yeah, it's, you know, it's all part of growing up, I feel. And it's particularly interesting now why it's really sparked an interest, because wait, I'm gonna get into it. But basically, the issue lies where us kawaii girlies, we've been living on the edges of society for years. We've been living in our little suburban towns. You know, you don't see us, as I mentioned in a previous episode, you know, the BonBon event, I think with Rakaya, we were saying how overwhelming, like beautifully overwhelming it was to see how many of us there were in that room at one point. But this isn't about that. I don't think this is about the kawaii, like that kind of bonding over being different. Do you know what I mean? That's the separation. We've been dressing kawaii in a world that doesn't really understand us since we've picked up an interest. You know, for me, I've dressed differently since secondary school, and even then I was definitely more into emo, like kind of vibes. I had a huge skull backpack. I used to try and wear black lipstick. It didn't last very long at school, as you can imagine. I had like eyeliner that was like the size of Amy Winehouse's liner. Like, I was very committed to like not looking like a normal human being from the get-go. And I think, you know, that comes from, for me, from being someone who has always been different and has struggled to fit in, you know. In secondary school, I was a big loner. I didn't really find my people until, I feel like, the last 2 years, like year 10 and year 11 in UK school. That was when I feel like I fully like started to actually make friends and people who had interests that aligned with mine rather than lunchbox friends. If you know, you know. Melody Martinez. It took me a while to find my people. And even then, like, love my bestie Georgie of 10 years. Love you. Shout out to you. I know she's watching. I didn't really find my people until college, to be honest. Like, my actual, like, people who I was like, damn, we're all very similar. We've all had, you know, a bit of a troubled upbringing, particularly with secondary school, you know, dealing with bullies, dealing with people who didn't understand us, who took the mick out of us, and, you know, would, you know, the amount of times I was even humiliated in secondary school for looking different. So, for example, like, I remember one day I wore Doc Martens to school, and it was the boot ones, if you know, you know, like the black booties. And I was like, yeah, these look really cool. And you know what? They looked so smart, and they went with my uniform so well. Like, they actually looked so cunty. But I think maybe, you know, the masses were either, you know, they weren't ready for it. They weren't ready. And I remember going into school and the amount of kids that would, you know, the amount of peers that came up to me and were like, are you allowed to wear them? You know, has the teacher seen them yet? Has our head of year seen them? You know, like, because it was our first day back as well. It was like, everyone needs to look especially smart and, you know, put together. But I remember at the end of that day, we had an assembly, and it was all about uniform. It was all about uniform and wearing the appropriate thing to school, you know, sod's fucking law, my poor little 14-year-old self, 13-year-old self even. Yeah, so we had an assembly and we were all sat down, and our deputy head teacher was at the front, and she was picking out people from the crowd, because we were all sat in our little sets in our tutor groups, and she was picking out people, and I was like, what, why is she picking out? And then I realised she was picking out people according to how much they didn't fit the uniform spec, and how, you know, we were going against it. So there was another girl who, I think, you know, there was a girl who was wearing a jumper she wasn't supposed to be wearing. There was a girl wearing makeup, you know, it was just like dumb shit. And then she called me, and I was like, no! Like, my little anxious self was like, God forbid, like, this humiliation right now, like, help me. And she literally grabbed me, and like, I was at the front, and she was like calling out to the audience, being like, what's wrong with Ebony's outfit? And I was like, this is public humiliation. We are not the Romans. Why is this still a thing? And yeah, it was really horrible. I remember going home after that, like, crying and being really sad. But before I actually left, like, the front of the assembly, I gave her the dirtiest look I'd ever given anyone. I literally gave her the sidiest eye of them all, because I was like, how fucking dare you, like, bring me to the front to isolate me in front of everyone, when you know, of all people, I'm sure, as a woman in an all-girls school, you know how catty these bitches can be, and how, you know, toxic this environment can be at times, and you're literally, like, egging them on, you know. It was horrible. But yeah, I just wanted to share that little anecdote, because that was a time where I really didn't, like, feel like I fit into my own skin. Like, I wasn't comfortable in my own skin. I was still figuring everything out, you know. I found safety in wearing super thick eyeliner, and, you know, when I was 16 I started wearing eyelashes and contact lenses, and, like, just dressing not dressing, but accessorizing what felt right to me. And if other people didn't get that, I didn't really care. Like, I've never cared, and I feel like I can say that for a lot of our community, is that we've always done it for ourselves. So people who just, you know, even before pre-Kawaii, like, this is the the come up story, okay? Like, we haven't got quite there yet. But yeah, like, there have been so many times, you know, I remember I did my eyebrows, like, I tried to fill them in brown, but like, it was mixed in with a brown and a green shade, and it mixed in with the green, so my eyebrows looked a bit green, and I was like, oh my god, this is... But the thing is, I didn't see it at the time. It wasn't until people in my tutor group in like year 10 were like, why are your eyebrows green? And I was like, even if they are green, that's fucking cool, so why are you coming for me right now? But again, we look back with hindsight, we look back with, we didn't have the knowledge back then that we have now. You know, we've dressed kawaii, like, moving into that now, I feel like we've dressed kawaii, or like just dressing alternatively to feel safe in ourselves, and to you know, it's not... No one goes out of their way to be different. Do you know what I mean? Like, at least no one should. Like, it comes from a place deep within, where it's like, I don't feel like I, like, go along with everybody else. I don't see myself as a sheep, you know? I see myself as a fucking stallion. You know, I see myself as, like, something so much bigger than that. And you know, I've never been interested in like the brown Topshop bags back in secondary school that everyone had. I was like, ugh! And I remember there was this little marketplace that had this pastel bag, and it was like pastel stripes, and it had these huge zip locks, but like the actual zip itself was like really oversized and really cute. And I remember getting complimented for that, and I was like, like, this is my thing. But yeah, that's kind of like, I guess, well, origin story. But you know, us kawaii girlies, we've had to survive in normie spaces for most of / all of our lives. You know, being bullied as a teenage alternative black girl and not knowing how to express my fashion desires was super isolating. And you know, even though I had my little moments with my eyeliner, with that pastel bag, you know, with my contact lenses, I still was not quite comfortable. And I remember we had you know, a mufti day, a dress, like, basically wear what you want to school day, for our last day of, I think it was year 11. Wait, tea break. I remember wearing, it was the most I'd ever felt myself ever, like, in an outfit that I'd personally put together. And it was like this little Peter Pan collar shift A-line dress. It like came just above my knees, and it was like purple, and it had like slithers of red and green going through it, like a tartan pattern, and I just thought it was so cute and so, just so my vibe at the time. And I remember wearing it with a clip-in ponytail that was like really curly that I'd got from my local hair shop, and I felt so pretty. And I was wearing platform shoes as well, and I remember walking in and everyone looked at me, and you know, people came up to me afterwards slowly and were like, you look like a doll. And I was like, like, this is it. Like, this is, I feel so me right now. And you know, that isn't something that I'd ever like felt in secondary school, or something that I could own, because yeah, I did have you know, like the things that I would do to make myself feel more like myself, but in that moment I authentically felt me, like for the first time ever, which was really, really special. But yeah, being isolated as someone who is different, where J fashion had not been adapted into mainstream fashion trends yet, was, yeah, it was quite rough. You know, I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of us when I say that, you know, the bullying was quite relentless, and you know, me going around at lunchtime not knowing who to sit with, and just, yeah, feeling really lost, and going to the library a lot with my lunch. But it's fine. I look back at that now with fondness and love, because I feel that without that experience I wouldn't have like what I know today, and that is, you know, so important and so special to me now. But yeah, I feel, you know, if we're going to talk about examples, especially in fashion, even on social media, like Sandy Liang, I mean, come on. We're seeing lots of bow accents, lacy scrunchies, sparkly embossed hair claws, accessories, floral colour block patterns. I saw some anime eye earrings. They're actually really cute. I saw some, like, they have like the little magical like eye with the with the cute little sparkles, very cute. And yeah, just lots of character inspired jewellery, lots of things that are not, we wouldn't have necessarily seen in fast fashion stores before. It would have definitely been something that you would have had to go somewhere specific for, or you would have had to know someone who actually makes that jewellery. You know, it would have been like more of a bespoke thing, but now it's a lot easier to access. And I don't know how I feel about it, because again, we're gonna get into it. I'm sorry, I'm going through my notes bit by bit. I'm sorry if this is a bit all over the place, but this episode is really important to me and I hope you guys really resonate with it. But another example is, have you guys seen those memes with like the little rabbit with like a little bow or something, or the shark, the coquette shark, yeah? And people put the fucking caption where it's like, "This is me if you even care." The thing is, it's okay for us to do it, but I'm really confused why they're doing it, because since when did you feel like a fucking animal with a bow on? Since when? You know? I'm not hating. I want to make it very clear. I'm not hating on the girlies who want to participate in this trend. I'm hating on the consumerism that is literally feeding into this and making the fashion life cycle so much shorter, and is making, you know, more fashion waste and more clothes going to landfills. Charity shops are being fucking infiltrated by the Depop girlies. It's really hard. Like, it's just it's a bit of a mess right now. These memes, like, I just thought that was really funny, and they're definitely like more popular, especially with TikTok now as well. The ones of the animals where it's like, "This is me if you even care," or "The horror's possessed but so do I," and it's a little hamster in a go-kart or something. And yeah, I feel like they've always kind of been around to an extent, but you know, we're seeing bows put on everything. Like, we're seeing like I saw a bow on a paperclip the other day and someone was like, "Coquette." I'm confused. What's going on? Next, the Barbie movie. I mean, of course, it really makes sense. But the amount of people that came up to me and Amy during that time being like, "Are you wearing pink to see Barbie?" And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm wearing pink because I've always worn fucking pink. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I think it's amazing to see people wearing pink to the Barbie movie. It filled me with joy. Like, it's not something that I'm like, oh, like, why do people do it? It's not that. It's the fact that, you know, people are assuming that it's like, "Oh yeah, you're wearing pink because you've seen the Barbie movie, right?" And it's like, no! I've been doing this. Like, I've been wearing these crazy outfits, and, you know, you didn't have very nice things to say about it before, but now it seems to be a big trend. But I do think Barbie has definitely had the biggest impact upon the power of pink and the power of bows and hyperfemme iconography, definitely, because we are seeing it more. Even just, you know, her outfits and like the perfection and the finesse of it, I'm really seeing, you know. But like, it's just irritating when people ask that question because it's like, no, I'm wearing pink because pink makes me feel pretty, and because I've been wearing pink since I realised it was my favourite colour, you know? Like, it's not all to do with Barbie. Like, I love Barbie, but it's not all that credit, you know? We've been doing this, and that is what this, you know, episode is mainly about. The girlies really want to be a part of something right now. Let me take a sip, because we're going to get deep now. We're going to be a bit more serious, but the world is bleeding right now, and it's in a really bad state of disrepair because of the disgusting, mainly men, orchestrating crimes against humanity. You know, we're seeing it in fucking bright as day. We're seeing it in broad daylight right now. Like, if you were turning a blind eye to how fucked up the world is, you can't do it anymore. We've got to the point where, like, again, we're not going to get into that because this is a safe space, and, you know, we see enough of that on our phones constantly. But, you know, it's really a lot to see, like, very harrowing, really painful images and videos first thing when you wake up. And I am so, like, my heart goes out to those who are suffering and those who are homeless and those who are living in fear and living in, like, I can't imagine how that feels, and that is such a privilege to say, but the world is in a really bad state right now, and I feel like community is being craved more than ever, and nothing is wrong with that. I just feel like it's about respecting the original content and the OG girlies, that have been girling since childhood as a coping mechanism and a survival technique. Because I don't know about you guys, but, over the years of me wearing kawaii, I feel like I've been kawaii for like 5 to 7 years now, something like that. And, from loving pastel colours and, really adorable characters and really, dramatised, but super romanticized facial expressions and soft textures and fluffy things, I feel that has really come from a place of trauma, more so than anything, because it's a way of connecting myself anyway. I'm sure a lot of people relate to this, but it's a way of connecting myself back to my childhood, that familiar place where you felt safe, nothing. I mean, in my childhood, I felt like nothing could hurt me. I mean, we're not getting into that, but, I felt that nothing could hurt me. Nothing could, we were just living in a state of awe and joy and excitement and discovery. And that was just such a pure time and such a special, it's just such a special thing. And it's such a special thing to hold on to, because the world is uglier than ever right now, and I feel that that's the reason all the girlies are coming in, wanting to be a part of this girl revolution almost, because of how fucked up everything is. After a couple of years of loving that, I realised that I was really tending to my inner child. That was the reason why I was so enamoured and so in love with hyperfemininity, especially because it allowed me to connect to my inner child, who I'm sure, she had to grow up way too quickly, and she saw a lot, she saw way too much for her age, and she had to mature a lot quicker than other kids may have, and that is my way of connecting back to baby 𝒂𝒄𝒏𝒐𝒏. I don't want to cry. That's what I mean when I say it's a coping mechanism and a survival technique, because kawaii is so much deeper than just pastel colours and sanrio. I feel like the girlies are just craving a retreat back to simpler times, and that's what we've been doing, so it makes a lot of sense right now. But on the other side of it, they want a piece of what we got. They want to be, it feels like the bullies almost want to be the weird kids now, because we were the weird kids in school. We were the ones y'all didn't understand, and y'all were like, oh, what's that? What are they doing? And now it's like, oh, it's cool because 𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒐𝒏 has fucking bow hair clips and ASOS has got lots of ruffles, and now it's just this, But yeah. In the kawaii world, hyperfemininity is a subconscious way of subverting the male gaze and alienating those who would otherwise prey upon us. These mainly men, again, have no relation to us because they don't know what it means to be a girl and what the experiences of girlhood are. Hyperfemininity gives that agency back to women over their stories and life experiences. And I think, that's the reason it's so huge right now, is because everyone just wants to go back to simpler times. Everyone just wants that slice of familiarity and that purity back, because we're all so disconnected right now, I feel, because of the state of the world. And we're trying to bind together because, the evils persist, but so do we. But I feel hyperfemininity is a way for us to connect back to that and connect back to who we truly are, and, just feeling loved and feeling, like everything's going to be okay, that is, that's the crux of it, I think. But I think it's a really exciting time for BonBon. actually, because cuteness is being embraced. You know, women are returning to girlhood in their 20s to extend that childhood experience they may have missed out on or never truly experienced, you know, because they grew up way too quick. Cuteness is finally in the conversation because the world has become so ugly. We need an escape. We need a retreat. We can't afford to leave the fucking country, so we're wearing bows in our hair to connect back to our little child selves. Kawaii and J fashion will of course continue, regardless of the lifespan of this fashion trend, because this is our identity. You know, this is not, whether it be a mutual admiration of fandoms or a particular music artist that we all love, you know, K-pop, J-pop, a gravitation towards magical girl anime, or just our universal love for Japan, the cuties. Kawaii is not going anywhere. My amazing, wonderful bestie, Fifi, shout out to you, darling, also mentioned like the treasure hunt of finding exclusive kawaii pieces in charity shops or through online thrifting. You know, even bidding back in the day, like with eBay as well. You know, it's the thrill. I feel like, you know, finding special kawaii bespoke pieces. It's the thrill of having an item that only you have, that no one else can have. And that's really important. You know, I think just having that little piece that no one can touch and you know that's yours, that's kind of, yeah, that's one of the main things about being kawaii, is because we're different and because people don't, you know, people look at us and they're like, oh, haven't seen anyone like you before, or I don't see people like you often, you know. So it's about having that, holding on to that treasure hunt, and it's getting increasingly harder with Depop, with Vinted, with Etsy, with, you know, more small businesses popping up, which we love, you know, being able to create these hyper feminine garms and accessories that we can access a lot easier. But it's not their fault. It's the fast fashion brands. It's the fast fashion brands and the big designers that are not crediting the alternative fashion subcultures that started it. You know, that's where the issue lies. That's where I get irritated, because again, I feel like Black women, we've been dealing with this, you know, the amount of things that have been taken from Black women, the amount of, you know, things that are now cool because of Black women, you know, that's another conversation, but it's very interesting how Kawaii aligns with that similarly. But I believe the community will most likely grow, which is amazing. Because, you know, it's bound to. More people are finding bows, more people are finding cute girly shit, more people are, you know, maybe for a lot of girls this is the beginning of their kawaii evolution. Maybe this is their little taster, their little sample of what it's like, you know, which is amazing. Like, that's so exciting. Like, if we get to see more Black and brown women, trans individuals, disabled people in kawaii, that's so exciting. Like, that's so special. But I just think it's very important we protect the sanctuary of our world and allow safe spaces for people to truly express without fear of judgment. It's as simple as that, you know? Just allow us to have our space, allow us to, you know, keep it sacred. It's really hard to keep anything sacred anymore because of social media and because of the power of the internet. But we will try. And, you know, that's the reason I have BonBon, is because not everyone's going to pick up BonBon. Not everyone's going to be like, oh, but the girls who are, the guys who are, the people who see it and are like, oh my God, that's who I'm doing it for. Because we don't get recognised that often, and now that we are, we need to be given our flowers. It's as simple as that. But yeah, that's the end of the episode, guys. Oh my God! I feel like, you know, we covered some really, important points, really, like, but as well, actually, one more thing before I go. I wanted to talk about kawaii and kindness, because, you know, that is the crux of BonBon. That's the epitome of what it means, you know, to be to be kind is to be truly kawaii. You know, that's my whole thing. You know, I feel, how can you be wearing these cute, adorable colours and look like a little bunny rabbit, but then you have the attitude of a fucking stinky ass, your aura is brown? It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. You can't have one without the other. To be truly kawaii is to be kind. you know, because it's about the community. It's about us sharing this safe space and all loving the same things and all wanting to be a part of that, you know. That's all it is. And making space for everyone to be a part of that. It's as simple as that. But yeah. Everyone be kind in the comments. Everyone be kind to each other. You know, again, like I said, this is not me hating on the girl trend or the bow trend or anything. I'm just asking for us to be given our flowers. It's as simple as that. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. Let me know in the comments down below what else you'd like to hear me talk about, what other guests you'd like on. This is the first episode I've done by myself since the first episode, which is really cool. But yeah, let me know if you like this format, if you know, you'd like me to do more episodes by myself as well, more kind of, I guess, monologues about the power of kawaii. But yeah, let a girl know, and also constructive criticism as well. If you have anything that you're like, I wish you'd have talked about this or that, just write it down below, and you know, I will always make time for it, and I will always, you know, try my best to cater to all of your needs and what you want to see. So yeah, but I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay cute and cozy and look after yourselves. You know, the world's ugly right now. We all need to protect our energy, but also, if you have the means to, please support those who need your help right now, because they need it more than ever. But I love you guys so much. Take care. Bye.
That it can continue itself, basically.
Yeah.
I think you had the same thing probably.
No, for sure. I think, yeah, now I'm, you know, BonBon is, issue 6 will be coming out in the new year. And yeah, when I started issue 1, like, it definitely was very much a case of establishing the groundwork and, like, you know, figuring out the target audience and all of that. And now that, you know, I have more issues and there's more of a community around it as well, it gives me that motivation to want to produce more issues, because it's like there's actually people that want to read it as well.
Someone, yeah.
Exactly, you're talking to someone, and you know, most of those people are our friends or colleagues or people we know. So yeah, it's really rewarding, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
My next question is, leading on from this, I wanted to discuss with you navigating the industry as 2 black female creatives.
Yeah.
We always have our fair share of anecdotes to tell each other when we meet. Do you have any that you'd like to share right now?
I feel like it's quite literally a tea spill, isn't it?
It's called afternoon tea for a reason.